Okay, moving on. We are out of Learning Plan 1, moving on to Learning Plan 2. And in this particular learning plan, we're going to talk about navigating and formatting a document. So once again, I'm going to be working through some files here. Now, I apologize, I did not post a video like this for Module 1. Those first 2 weeks were a little crazy. So if there's something that you were struggling with in Learning Plan 1 or didn't quite understand, let me know. And I'm always happy to create just a quick little video going over a few things. But we're moving on to Module 2. You'll see this looks a little cleaner in here now because now we don't have all of these links saying, watch this link to understand how to submit the SAM training, or watch this to understand how to do the review assignment. All that was back in Learning Plan 1. Learning Plan 1 was also where you downloaded your files from, but you should still have those. You downloaded those originally. They should still be on your computer. But in this module, we're going to be talking about navigating and formatting a document. So again, if you have the book, as it tells you up here under learning activities, you're going to go through the navigating and formatting a document and read the ebook. Okay, so I know it's probably not very realistic that you're going to read the whole ebook, read the whole module through the ebook, or that you're going to even work through all the steps. But that is really how you would know how to do all these things. If you don't know how to do something, it's because you maybe didn't work through that problem in the ebook. Now I know that you might know how to change a font or add a comment or delete a comment, but there's always going to be some things in the book that you maybe don't know. So it's still important that you look through that and make sure that you do understand everything that you're seeing there in Module 2. So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to open this up, navigating and formatting a document. And I'm not going to work through this entire module with you. I'm going to point out things and things that maybe you might be confusing or might not understand it specifically. I do work through the module step by step in class. So if that's something that you think would be helpful for you, it might be helpful for you to come to class. But again, I'll plan to do that, create a video kind of similar to this each week. So here's Module 2. If you're going to work through this on your own and make sure you understand everything that's in the module, you would click on this first link here and you would begin following the steps. I can get this to load. I'm working off my laptop on the wireless, so it's being a little putsy here on me. I'm even on campus. I thought this would be better than at home. I'm going to hit the next button here to see if I can get, okay. So here it's just talking about reviewing a document. Again, if you had a copy of the book, you would have this on paper and you could look through this and follow the steps. So the first thing it's telling us to do is to open the file called 2-1. So I'm going to do that. Open up 2-1. I'm just going to back out of my folder here. I was in Word 1. I'm going to go out to the main folder, go into Word 2. We're working through the module, Word 2 module right now, so I'm going to go into the module folder and open up 2-1. Now this module, working through the chapter, is not something you have to turn in to me, so I wouldn't expect that you would necessarily work through every single step, but do note that if you don't work through every step, it's still your responsibility to understand everything in the chapter. So I do know that you're going to see some of this and think, well, I know how to do that. Again, that's fine. But it still is your responsibility to make sure you know how to do everything. Okay, I'm just going to turn off my show hide marks there and increase the size just a little bit. Okay, it has us save this. I'm going to go ahead and do this. I'm going to save it into the current folder. And it just has us save it as 2_mortgage here. Mortgage. Okay, save. All right, so the first part of the chapter here is really talking about these comments. And if you're not familiar with comments in Word, oftentimes how people use them is if you have multiple people looking at a document or working on a document together, they can add these comments in here. And you can see right now the comments are not showing automatically. I can see by these like little balloon bubble marks here that there's something going on here, but unless I click on it, I'm not going to see the comment. And here, Sabrina commented, please review my notes on the printed copy of this document. Well, obviously we don't have the printed copy, but you can see there's a comment letting people know that she had maybe distributed a printed copy. So I can go along each comment like this, or I can go to the Review tab and click on Show Comments, and then I can see them all at one time. If you put a comment in here, your name should show in here because you're signed in as you, but that might depend on how you have your computer set up. But your name might be on here, or it might be your email address or something kind of identifying it's you who's putting in that comment. Okay, so we can go through and we can look at all these comments. Notice you have the opportunity to reply to a comment if you want to. And then we can just kind of scroll through and see them all. There's one more down here. The other thing this chapter talks about is showing or hiding the white space here. So we know from the first chapter that this right here is our margin. And I can tell that by the gray here. So this is the margin that we have set on this computer. If I scroll to the top, I see the same thing here. I see my margin here. I want to show you this more so because people do this by mistake, but it could also be that you want to, maximize your monitor space and see eliminate all white space as possible. So if I double click here, notice I put my mouse here at the very top of my screen, I get that double arrow. I can double click and notice how my margin pretty much disappears up here. It's still there, it just isn't showing right now. And when I scroll down here, you can see the same thing between the pages. Here's page 1, here's page 2, but I don't really see that because I turned off that white space, or I basically told it to not show it. But now I can put my mouse right here, or I could go back up here to where I was before, either one, and I can double click again and it'll bring it back. So again, the main reason why I'm showing you this is because many people do that by mistake and they don't even realize they've done it. And then they wonder why this white space is gone. Probably, I don't know, it's not a feature that I use a lot, but everybody's different and it might be a helpful feature to you. Okay, a couple other things I just want to mention here with comments. Notice, like in this comment, Sabrina says, I might want to use this paragraph in another document, but I'm concerned it might be too long. What is the total word count? Well, we could reply to her and tell her how many words are in this paragraph. Now we can find out how many words are in here by triple clicking the paragraph that I just triple clicked, and that helped me select the entire paragraph. Notice my word count down here tells me that's 89 of the 725 words. So in this paragraph that I have selected, it's telling me that that's 89 words. I could select multiple things all the way through here, and then it would tell me how many words that is. But again, in this case, she was just wondering about that paragraph. So I could come into this comment, I could hit reply, and I could put in 89 to just reply, and then she would see that file again and see the answer to that. Now that's not something, maybe it's not something you would foresee using, but the commenting here is helpful if you would have multiple people looking at the same document, maybe wanting to make comments back and forth. Okay, a couple other things here with comments. You can add or delete comments fairly easily. Here it says, please insert your first and last name here. So next to prepared by, I'm going to type in my name. And then I did it, so there's no reason for me to keep this comment. So I'm going to click in that comment just to make sure it's selected. And on my Review tab, I'm going to hit delete. And then that comment's going to be gone. I could also change a comment. So here on this page, notice the word considering. We could decide, I don't think that that's what they wanted to do there. So I'm going to go and I'm going to change that. I'm going to go to change case, make that lowercase. Probably don't need to have the word considering uppercase. So change case allows you to, without having to actually go in and retype it yourself, you could change it to whatever you want. So in this case, we changed it to lowercase. But now I'm going to put in a comment that's going to tell them, whomever's looking at it, that I'm guessing you didn't really mean to make that uppercase. So with that selected, considering selected, I'm going to choose new comment. I'm going to type in, I assumed you didn't want this in all uppercase, something like that. So that's how you can add a comment. So we can see how we can reply to a comment, we see how we delete a comment, and we can see how we can put in our own comment. And again, these are showing out in this right margin like this because I have show comments turned on. If I don't want those to be on, I can hit show comments again under my review tab, and then they are just kind of these bubbles here. Okay, next thing, just want to show you how you can kind of drag and move text if you want to. So let's say this would make more sense for this step 4 right here, application complete the online form, to be number 1. So I'm going to select that line. I could do that a couple different ways. I can triple click the line, or I can click out here to select it. Notice it just selects the text, not the number 4, because the number 4 is part of the bulleting. It's not going to be selected with the text. And now if I want to move that text, I can left click and drag it. And notice this black line that's coming with me. It's following my mouse wherever it goes. I'm holding down my left mouse and holding it down while I move the mouse. And then when I want to drop it, I let go and it moves it, and you can see that everything else kind of reshuffled here. So that's how you can drag and move text. You obviously could also cut, copy, paste. If we, on the second page here, at the very top here, we're going to go all the way up to the top, just below Prairie Savings and Loan Mortgage Facts. We can cut and copy as well. So if I want to cut and copy, I can select this last sentence here. You can do that a couple different ways. You can hold on your control key and click, and that'll select it. You can click and drag to select it. But I can cut that, and I can do that a couple different ways. Just like everything else, I can cut, or I can do Control X, and notice it's gone. And now I'm going to scroll down to the bottom of my document, click After Reality, and I want to paste that. I need to put in a space there, and I can either hit paste, or I can do Control V to insert that in there. Copy and paste. Guessing most of you feel pretty comfortable with that. The other thing I wanted to show you is when you do copy and paste something, it goes to the clipboard, and you probably know that, but probably the funny thing is we always think, well, what is the clipboard? You know, it's kind of there, but we don't even really know what it is. What I just copied is right here on the clipboard, but if I wanted to, copy something else, like right here, and before I copy this, I'm going to make it a different color just to prove a point later on. The book isn't telling you to do this, but I just want to point something out. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm just copying it. I'm not actually going to paste it anywhere else right now, because we're going to open a new document and copy and paste. So notice that usually when we copy and paste, we copy paste immediately. It just pastes what we wanted, what was the last thing that was copied. Notice it's remembering both of those items here. So we're actually going to go to the File tab and choose New, open up a new document here. And notice my clipboard. If your clipboard doesn't come up, it's okay. You can just go to the little dialog box launcher here again to tell it to come up. But notice whatever's on the clipboard, it's still remembering it even in this new document. So I can click on something. So if I want to bring in Talk to Your Loan Agent, I can click that and it brings it in. I could have pasted them all at the same time. I could hit Paste All to bring it all in at once. If I want to bring in this one, I can choose this one as well. And notice this little Paste Options button that comes up. This is something that's helpful if you're moving things from document to document and the formatting is a little different. You can choose to use destination theme, which means it would make it look like the rest of the text in the document. Keep source formatting, which means it would keep it looking exactly how it does in the other document. So in this case, it would keep the red and it would keep exactly italicized. It's kind of hard to tell it's even italicized. Merge formatting means it's going to merge it and make it look like it does here. Or it can tell it to keep text only. And notice if I choose that, the red color goes away and so does the italics on the exactly. Nice feature to just get rid of the extra stuff right away. I really probably use that the most if I'm copying and pasting from like the internet or something, and there's maybe a background color or something funny in there. That keep text only is really helpful for that. The one thing you have to remember about paste options is that it's only there and available to you until you go and do something else. So once I click off of this and I start typing, notice that paste options is gone. I can't go up here and be like, oh wait, I want to change that back. Now it's done. I can't change that to one of the other options anymore. Okay. Other thing I wanted to talk about in this first section is I'm going to go back to this actual document. I'm not even going to save. I'm just going to close it out and go back to my mortgage document. I'm going to clear my clipboard, which is always, it's good to do sometimes. And sometimes you'll notice when you leave certain programs, it'll ask you if you want to clear the clipboard because maybe you've copied a whole bunch of images or something and it's remembering that. But you don't have to always clear it, but just so you know, that's an option there. I'm going to close that out. And then I'm going to go to the top of my document. Here, you can hit Control Home to get there. I'm going to choose the Find feature. And notice when we choose Find, the navigation pane comes up on the left here. Notice Results is currently there. We haven't typed anything in yet. We can also click on Pages, which allows me to move around in my document with the pages. But for now, what we want to do is we want to type in the search box here. We want to type in Prairie Savings and Loan. And notice just as I type that, my results come up right away. I'm going to click on Results here. I didn't even have to hit Return. It just brought those up. The one thing that notice is that I typed in Prairie Savings and Loan, and it brought it up whether it was capitalized or not capitalized. It brought up all occurrences of Prairie Savings and Loan. So I can actually go to the little drop arrow here and choose options, and I could say, I want it to match case. I don't want it to come up with all instances of Prairie Savings and Loan. I only want it to come up with the instances where it's lowercase. So I'm going to choose match case, click OK. And notice it clears my search, and I have to come back in here and type in Prairie Savings and Loan again. Oops. Loan, not Logan. And now notice if I scroll through my document, this is not selected because it's capitalized or has initial caps, and this does not. So that's can be the difference between using the change case option. Okay, the next thing we're going to do, and you can use these arrows right here to kind of go from one occurrence to the next. You can also just scroll up and down your document to do that as well. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to actually replace that text. So now we have Prairie Savings and Loan. We want to replace the lowercase with the uppercase. So we're going to go to Replace up here on our ribbon. And notice the Find What says Prairie Savings and Loan. We're going to type the replace with capital Prairie Savings with a capital S and Loan with a capital L. Now I like to, before I do anything, I kind of like to see if it's going to find what I'm looking for. So I'm going to hit Find Next. It's going to find the first occurrence. Now your first Find Next might be different than mine if you work through this exercise because it really finds next based on wherever my cursor was. And it found it, so I'm going to tell it to replace. And then it's going to say, we've reached the end of the document. Do you want to keep searching? I'm going to say yes. And then I'm just going to go ahead and tell it to replace all. It's going to tell me it found 2 replacements, which for a total of 3. So I'm going to click yes. All done. Close. And you can see all the occurrences where we just had Prairie Savings and Loan as lowercase are now uppercase. So that's using the Find and Replace feature to do that. Okay. The one thing you do want to probably change back is the match case. If I go to options and uncheck match case, I don't want that setting to stay there. All right, the last thing the first part of this chapter covers are what we call styles up here. And styles are really pre-built like fonts with font sizes and so on. And you can see based on where my cursor or what is selected right now, whenever I hover over a style, it shows me what that text would look like if I would choose that style. You can click on this little drop down arrow and you can see all the styles that are already preset, pre-made. You can make your own. We don't get into that in this class specifically, but we're going to use some of these styles here for this assignment. So we're going to choose Prairie Savings and Loan Mortgage Facts, and we're going to use the title style here. Now, once you use that style, it doesn't mean you can't change it. I might say, I really want that to be centered, and I'd like it to be bold. Maybe that's just a little big, so I'm going to actually decrease that one font size maybe. So it can kind of be a good starting point, or you could keep it the way it is because you like it. And then you could go through and you could choose other styles as well. For our side headings, maybe we would choose style heading 1. And I could go through and change all of my heading 1s to be heading 1 style. Oops. Computer's acting weird. Okay, so we could go through and change all those to be heading 1 as well. So this is the first part of Module 2. I just completed session 2.1 just to go over what was covered in that section. So I'll stop now, and in a separate video, I'll cover session 2.2.